You wind up your career with the New York Giants.
Yes.
And that organization playing for what's his name?
It was Fossil then.
Fossils.
Yeah.
Who's a pretty good coach, Jim Fossils.
He was, but it was one of those situations where once everybody knew the coach was going to be gone, it was like the inmates were running the asylum. It wasn't any kind of order going on. A lot of players were going their different ways. It was very cliquish. It wasn't a fun time.
No.
I love the city. I met a lot of good people up there, but that year was one that I like to forget about.
Now that you're retired, okay, are you going to go into TV or radio?
I'm in it now.
Okay, what do you do now?
Well, I do a radio show daily from 2 to 4 with Doc Walker. It's called Inside the Locker Room. And I do a TV show every night with Ivan Carter at 10:30 on Comcast, Sports Talk Live. And then during the season, I do the pregame and postgame for the Redskins.
Rick Doc Walker, who's been on my show tons of times. Now that I know you're his guy, I'll be having you on our show, the Artie Clear Show. And Brian, I want to thank you so much. You did so many great things on that football field. All-time punt returner, yardage, and everything else that what you've done. I think there's a spot in the Hall of Fame for you, Brian.
I think so too. They need to just get off of this, not letting. They got Jan Stenerud is the only true special teams player in the Hall of
Ray
Fame.
Guy?
Ray Guy is not there, and I don't understand what they're thinking, because I'll say this to any voter out there: don't tell me if Ray Guy didn't do what Joe Montana did. Joe Montana can't do what Ray Guy did. If you're the best at your position, you should be able to go into the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It doesn't say selected position Hall of Fame.
I agree with you. Ray Guy is the greatest punter of all time. They even got the Ray Guy Award out there.
Ray Guy is unbelievable. He would hang the ball up so high they thought he had helium in it. So they have to get past that. You get so many guys want to say what's not. I think if you were the best punter to do it, you should be there.
Well, last punt he hit it all helicopter. He hit it so high.
he got close. Roger Goodell is trying to make the public think that he's doing so much for the game, but as long as you have grown men getting bigger, stronger, and faster, running full speed, hitting each other, you'll never take injuries completely out the game. You can try to change things. I think, why don't they just use some of the billions they're making and invest in a better helmet? You will not totally eliminate concussions. If you hit somebody wrong, you're going to get a concussion. But I think if they go out there and find different things, you may limit the amount of concussions that people will get. But whether you move the ball to the 35 or whatever, makes no difference. When I first got into the league, they were kicking it from the 30. Then they moved it up to the 35 and all this stuff. It doesn't make a difference. Guys are going to still return. You noticed last year when they did it, guys kept bringing the ball out the end zone. Because naturally, when the ball goes into the end zone, the coverage team slows up. So when they slow up, now the team's going to come out. And I love the fact of not having a 5-man wedge. I never ran behind a 5-man wedge. I thought they got in my way, and also they stop you from being able to see. So you get those guys coming off the edge and catching you real good. The 2-man wedge has been the best thing I've ever seen. So there's nothing wrong with that. But for them to try to downplay special team as if it's nothing, I think it's crazy. Because every coach I've heard, they say 3 phases of the game. Yeah. Offense, defense, special teams. You said earlier, right, giving the offense field position, pinning the team back on, and giving your defense, making the team have to go a long ways on your defense. You keep doing that. Special teams changes the game, changes the momentum of a game. And when you look at those hidden yards, you find out some offenses that are just explosive. Why? Because they get the ball in the 35, the 45, and they can do everything in their playbook. But if you get it inside the 10, inside the 20, you have to run certain plays because you're trying your best not to turn the ball over down there, so you're being very conservative. So Roger Goodell can say what he wants, he can think what he wants. You take special teams out of the game, I think you lose a lot of fans because it's the most spectacular aspect of the game. I don't care what they do on offense, I don't care what they do on defense. But somebody scores on you, they kick it off, and I return it back into the touchdown, I completely take the air out of that team that just scored and put it right back on my team.
I got 2 questions for you now you bring that up. Number one is, last year they were kicking in the end zone, 105, 108-yard return, so it wasn't like they're not going to kick it. And on top of everything else, they still got to run all the way down the field. And if you're, say, 5 yards in the end zone, well, you've got 5 yards of steam that you're coming out, so you'll be hitting it full steam, say, at like 15 or 20-yard line.
That's the thing. They say they moved it up to the 35 because they don't want the collisions. If I'm a world-class athlete and I'm running from the 35, by the time I get to the 50, I'm full speed. Okay? So if I was at the 30, they say, well, the 30, they were running too far. So I was full speed at the 45. I'm still going to be full speed when I hit somebody. You know, they're trying. What they do, they use, and I'm not saying fans are ignorant, but they use the ignorance of a fan that don't exactly know what's going on. You are not going to stop the collisions. It's going to happen.
Oh, for sure it's going to happen.
Special teams you have the young crazy guys who are trying to impress the coach. Normally those guys are anywhere from 5'10" to about 6'4". You got linebackers, tight ends, running backs, receivers, defensive back, the faster guys, the little sickos. They are going to go full speed and hit each other. And yes, I understand the concussion stuff scares them, and they're trying to make sure that they act like they're doing something. But before they came out and said that concussions can, they were trying to hide it.
Of course.
Anything before that, I think you're responsible. Once you said it, then you don't have to be responsible.
I just want to ask one question to you. RG3, is it the real deal?
Yes, he is. He is. He's smart. He's very athletic, and he's unbelievable throwing the football.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.